Camilla stands before us, managing attention. Get the phone away, please. Thank you. Communicating respect non-verbally. Finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, my name's Camilla.
Hi Camilla.
So I want you to imagine that you live in Boone County, West Virginia. And you, like thousands in your state, have spent your whole life working in the coal industry. And sadly, you're one of 4,000 in your small county of just 24,000 who've lost their jobs in recent years, according to NBC in December 2016. So, now, would you vote for a political candidate who said she, according to NPR in 2016, would put a lot of coal miners out of business in the pursuit of green energy? So today I want to answer the question, is West Virginia now a red state? And my answer is that absolutely yes, this historically deep blue state has slowly but surely become a red state. And there are three key pieces of evidence we can look at to see that this is true. The first is how they voted in the past 4 presidential elections. The second is how the Republicans have gained control of the state legislature. And the third is how even their Democratic politicians now have to project socially conservative values in order to be elected. So, the first reason I believe that West Virginia is now a red state is because of how they voted in the last 4 presidential elections. Now this first started in the 2000 election, when President George Bush won a surprise victory over Al Gore with 52% of the vote. This happened again with 56% of the vote in 2004, and then in 2012, President Obama failed to win even a single county in the state, according to CNN in 2016. So, doesn't that seem like a clearly red state when a Democratic candidate who is popular in many other states fails to win even a single county? So, more recently, according to CNN in 2016, President Donald Trump easily won the state with all 5 electoral votes, with 68.7% of the vote, and giving him his largest margin of victory in the country and the largest margin of victory in the state's history. So this is in stark contrast with the fact that the state has been a traditionally blue voting record, voting Democrat in virtually every election from 1932 to 1996. According to the Washington Examiner on August 3rd, 2017. So the second reason that West Virginia is clearly now a red state, despite its long history of being blue, is because of how the Republicans have gained control in the state legislature. In the 2014 elections, the GOP gained control for the first time in 80 years, and they took one of West Virginia's 2 U.S. Senate seats and all 3 U.S. House districts, according to New York Times report in November 2014. This continued in the 2016 elections, according to the Chicago Tribune on November 9th, 2016, when the Republicans held on to their seats and made gains and gained 3 statewide offices. These Republican victories provide some pretty definitive evidence that it's now a red state. So the third reason is that even the remaining Democratic politicians in the state stand for traditionally Republican values. So according to the Washington Post on August 3rd, 2017, Governor Jim Justice announced his switch from being Democrat to Republican at a Trump rally. And when you think of rifles and opposition to environmental regulations, do you think of Democrats or Republicans? Well, in 2010, the state's Democrat governor showcased in an ad his endorsement by the NRA, the National Rifle Association, and his ad opposed environmental regulations by President Obama. This is according to Politico in June 2013. According to CBS News in 2010, the U.S. Senator from West Virginia for 50 years, Robert Carlyle Byrd, opposed affirmative action and same-sex marriage, and the current junior senator, Joe Manchin, is pro-life, according to Real Clear Politics in 2017. So what does it say about the political standing of a state when even their Democratic politicians stand for traditionally Republican values? So, in summary, I have shown you 3 reasons why I believe West Virginia has clearly proven itself to be a red state. The first was their proven track record in the past 4 presidential elections. The second was how the Republicans have gained control of the state legislature. And the third was how their Democratic politicians stand for red values. So in conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that despite its blue history, West Virginia is now a red state. So think back to the coal miner in Boone County, West Virginia. Can you blame him and his neighbors for wanting to vote for Republican candidates who promised to keep oil mining jobs? Thank you.
Very good, thank you. So where are we? Somewhere here, yes, please. Hi.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne.
Hi, Cheyenne.
I really liked your speech, and I like the fact that you tied in a personal story about the coal miners into an abstract topic about the blue state and the red state.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's tied back to them in the end. So that's good, yeah. Improvement.
Hello, I'm Kaylin.
Hi, Kaylin.
I thought it was really good. Same thing as the people before you. Like when you are speaking to one side, just try not to only focus on them. But other than that, it's really good.
Glance over there, yeah.
I forgot to read my significance statement. I had it, I just forgot it.
Yeah. Let me just say something about that. You always want to just do a little selling of your speech to the audience and say, I think you're going to enjoy this speech because I really have some important things to say. And you left it completely out of here, so that was good. So I like your intro, and I like the way that you gave it a really sort of personal, emotional tone and personalized the question, because otherwise this could have easily turned into a bore fest about red and blue states and a political scientist discussion. You know what they sound like. My prejudices are showing. Yeah, your evidence that you garnered for for the change was varied and excellent. I will tell you my personal bias that I don't think a lot of the 1 minute. They're coming for us,
They didn't like
Camilla.
my speech.
I don't think much of quoting Fox News or CNN as opposed to the written sources like the New York Times, although, those distinctions are becoming kind of murky now because, I told you the story about how the New York Times editor has said,
I cited them just for the election results, but even that I could give,
Yeah, because CNN is, in my opinion, and Fox News are just off the rails. Just rabid there. So, if you want to enhance your credibility, and if you ever want to go into higher education or scholarship, you wouldn't be quoting CNN for anything. Okay? Yeah.
Wrap it up.
One thing I would say, wrap it up, yeah, okay. One thing I would say is, and Robert Byrd and the candidates, and even the Democratic candidates, now I'll take Republican positions, was all very good. Your summary, your conclusion, your tieback was excellent. One thing I would say is maybe just to say something about say there might have been a little demagoguery in President Trump convincing these people he was really going to bring coal back from the dead. God bless him, maybe he is, I don't know. But they bought it, hook, line, and sinker, and voted for him. For those and many other reasons. They're really hurting in these rural areas. And he tapped into that. So thank you very much, Camilla. Really excellent job. Yeah. What's our time looking like?
3:14.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Yeah. Okay. Let's go over here to this side of the house. You ready to do Cheyenne, Wyoming? Are you ready to do a second speech? Let's hear from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Anybody else coming forward? Are you coming forward? What's your story? Oh, you'll come forward. Good, thank you. Thank you. Let's hear it for our courage. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Your backpack looks like a bowling ball set. Got a lot in there, huh? Thank you, Erica. Okay, Erica stands before you managing tension.
Just a heads up, I used CNN twice. My sources.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Okay. Don't just ignore what I just said to Camilla.
Okay.
Feet wider than your shoulders for the power stance, and remember to come forward and really project. We've got people walking now, and we're outside, so really, speak into this little tiny speaker down there. Erica stands before us, managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, saying to herself, I really respect my audience. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center, say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi everybody, my name is Erica.
Hi, Erica.
If anybody out there is listening to us, we are dying, and you are killing us with the inefficiency and the bureaucracy. Those were the words that Mayor of Puerto Rico's capital, Carmen Soto, said, describing the Trump administration's indifference to the destruction that Hurricane Maria caused. Now, today I want to answer the question of, is the Trump administration dragging their feet in terms of Puerto Rico's recovery efforts? Now, I believe that yes, the Trump administration is indeed dragging their feet because of three reasons. One, Puerto Rico's bankruptcy. Two, slow recovery efforts in comparison to Florida and Texas. And three, the cost of indifference that the Trump administration has cost. So many of you may be asking, why is this important? Well, besides being Americans, we are humans. And as humans and as part of human decency, we should care about a country regardless of political factors. Yeah. Now, the first reason I believe that the Trump administration is in fact dragging their feet is because not only is Puerto Rico a U.S. territory, but they also recently filed for bankruptcy. In fact, according to a Friday, January 19, 2018 CQ researcher report, before Hurricane Maria actually hit landfall, the Puerto Rican government had filed for bankruptcy, claiming that they could not pay their $72 billion public debt. And on top of that, after Hurricane Maria, $93 billion was added to that debit. Now, Puerto Rico's debit, according to a Thursday, January 12, 2017 CNN article, has loomed large over the Trump administration's response to the island. In fact, when Trump visited Puerto Rico, he told the people that paying for the recovery efforts has actually thrown the budget a little over whack. Now, the second reason I believe that the Trump administration is actually dragging their feet is because they've provided swifter response to both Florida and Texas. According to a Wednesday, September 22nd CNN article, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA, already had supplies and personnel in Texas before Hurricane Harvey hit landfall. Also in Florida, a few days after Hurricane Irma hit, they already had about 40,000 personnel there helping and providing aid to Florida. By comparison, in Puerto Rico, they only had about 10,000 or so federal agents helping after 2 weeks that Hurricane Maria hit. Now, one may claim, okay, so Hurricane Harvey happened first, and so did Hurricane Irma. So FEMA's sources may have spread way too wide, and by the time that Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, it might have not been enough resources. But according to a Friday, December 29, 2017 Vox article, under the Stanford Act, the President Donald Trump actually has the authority to tell FEMA and other federal agencies that they can provide more resources and more people to that island. Now, the third reason that the Trump administration has been dragging their feet is the consequences of the Trump administration's indifference towards Puerto Rico's recovery efforts 5 months later. According to a Friday, January 19, 2018 CQ researcher report, Maria was Puerto Rico's most powerful storm in the past 90 years. And in the past 5 months, or after 5 months, there has been homes, more than thousands and thousands of homes have been uninhabitable and damaged. And also, the island has only recovered about 60% of their electricity. On top of that, this same report states that while the Puerto Rican government says that only about 64 people died because of Hurricane Katrina, individual analysis say otherwise, saying that the death toll actually raised about 1,000 or more so. So in summary, Puerto Rico's inability to pay their debt, the Trump administration's quicker response to Texas and Florida, and the cost of the administration's indifference are 3 reasons why I believe that the Trump administration has been dragging their feet in regards to Puerto Rico's recovery efforts. There should be no doubt in this room that the Trump administration chose politics over human decency, resulting in Puerto Rico's inability to reconstruct after such damage from Hurricane Maria. Had the Trump administration provided recovery efforts to Puerto Rico in a faster method, then maybe the mayor, Carmen, would not be pleading for lives, and maybe, just maybe, Puerto Rico wouldn't be in shambles. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hat.
Sapon.
Hi, Sapon.
I thought it was really good. You clearly care a lot about the subject. I could immediately tell the way you just said Puerto Rico and your native.
544.
Like you were really passionate about it.
544.
So that was good. Your reasonings. The first one was good about the debt because the U.S. complaining about someone else's debt problem is hypocritical.
Camilla's was fine.
Second reasoning, caring more about Texas and Florida.
Yell it out to me.
I don't like that argument because then, say if there's 2 kids that are hungry, one's your kid and one's another person's kid, you're clearly going to care more about your kid. Then the third reason was the indifference. I thought that was good too. That was another good point to Rod. So I thought your reasoning was good too. Yeah, that was good.
Hi, my name's Arun, everyone.
Hi, Arun.
So I thought this was a really good speech. Good emphasis with your words, good articulation, good voice modulation, purposeful hand movements, all of that. Just one critique to make it a good speech, an excellent speech, would just be a loose of paper. That's it. The only time you really referenced it was for the statistics or a site. But if you just memorize those 3 instead of referencing it, it'll become an excellent speech.
Yeah. I'll start on the positive. You were very passionate. You really cared, and that came through, and you garnered arguments that supported your position. I'll be honest with you, I didn't buy all your arguments, and I'm going to tell you why. But that's my job. But what I didn't get was your whys were... I didn't get the why behind the why. So, you said, because they went bankrupt, because we had Texas and Florida, and because of the cost of indifference. Were you, because it cost too much, or is it a racist thing? You seem to be implying something like that, but I couldn't get that out of you. But, so, on your 6th statement, I'll say it was very good. I like the human decency appeal and angle. Look.
1 minute.
I think it's unfair for you to compare Florida and Texas, where it's real easy. They're part of the United States. We could put stuff out ahead of time. We had plenty of warning it was coming, so we could get everything ready. Puerto Rico, you get there by boat, plane. It was hard to position stuff. And as your own analysis admit, the island was already bankrupt. I won't use the term that President Trump used. But the island was in bad shape. And people were expecting miracles. People were expecting a new Puerto Rico from the hurricane. No. Is that realistic? Well, whatever. To CNN it was, right? Let me help you with a word, Erica. It's debt, not debit.
I'm sorry, my accent comes through.
It's okay. Just say it with me. Debt.
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 We owe a debt to society. Okay, you got it? Yeah, I'm going to ignore the CNN article because I think they're just way off the rails, and I think I just don't think it, whatever. Wrap it up, yeah. The third reason, what I didn't get was, all these were just factual things, but I didn't understand the reason why 60% of the electricity isn't back on. It's because it was there wasn't any electricity before because of the bankruptcy. Yeah, so I'll wrap this up, my handler tells me. So I will say that your summary and your conclusion and your tie back to your mayor pleading for lives was good. You have the form of it down. Just a little better argumentation and lose some of the cable sources. And poke a little deeper on why this didn't go so well. Okay?
The thing with this is, while I was reading all these articles, it was very opinionated.
Yeah.
So finding the facts was a little hard. Just to
I know it is.
distinguish one side from the other.
It's real hard these days. It's real hard these days. Thank you, Erica. Okay, next. How's our time looking? Yeah, we have time for one more or so. How's my battery looking? Oh, good. Yeah, good, yeah. Hi. Well, no one's ready, but, Erica manned up. Right? There you go. Excellent. Let's hear it for Meow. I like your meow there.
Thank you.
It's endearing. Moby Meow. Okay. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Going through the customs in LAX is always a nightmare. To top up the torture of waiting in line for 2 hours, for my Chinese friends and I, there's an extra procedure of the so-called phone clearance. This is a procedure that is urged by our Chinese parents for our own security issue and not to be deported from the country. The reason why so many Chinese parents are so nervously asking their kids to do so is exactly because, according to the New York Times in 2017, the Department of Homeland Security began collecting social media data from all immigrants entering the United States. The practice was initiated the same day the Trump's administration's travel ban was set to take effect. as a foreign visitor under the F1 visa in this country, I am personally feel very uncomfortable for this collection of my social media information without a warrant or my own consent. So today I would like to answer the question, should the Department of Homeland Security abandon its plan to collect social media data from immigrants entering the US? My answer is they should, absolutely. I'll give you 3 answers why the Homeland Security Department should not impose social media surveillance on immigrants. Firstly, it invades privacy. Secondly, it leads to chilled expression. And thirdly, its benefits are unproven. Perhaps you're wondering why this issue is worth discussing because this is mostly concerning of immigrants. But I believe that this concerns all of us here today, not just for an international student like me, because the growing influence of social media connects and involves all of us here today. Not to mention that the policy violates some basic human rights that we're all striving to protect. So this leads to my first reason of the argument. The practice of collecting immigrant social media data violates the basic respect for individuals' privacy. According to the New York Times, September 28, 2017, the Department of Homeland Security published a new requirement in Federal Register saying that it would collect social media handles, aliases, associated identifiable information in search results. This statement is very self-evident that it is an intrusion, a tremendous intrusion of privacy here, since that the monitoring covers almost every aspect of your social media activity. Secondly, the sweeping surveillance will have a chilling effect overall of online expression for both the immigration side and as well as U.S. citizens. On the one hand, reported by NPR News in September 20th, 2017, many immigrants will be chilled and deterred from participating in speech and social media because the fear the government will simply misunderstand what they're saying. On the other hand, of course, the U.S. citizens will also be deterred since we're all unavoidably connecting and engaging with comments on social media with the immigrants. And thirdly, the monitoring plan on social media is not proven to be effective for national security. While the DHS claims that this collected-up approach helps identify security threats, according to the Electronic Frontier Foundation in 2017, research shows that expressive internet conduct is an inaccurate predictor of one's propensity of violence. Furthermore, potential bad actors can easily just get away and circumvent all of this because they can just assume a different personas on the internet. Also, posts with sarcasm and allusions are especially difficult to detect and decipher. The task is further complicated by the rising use of emojis. In summary, I'll show you 3 reasons why the Department of Homeland Security should abandon its plans to collect social media data from immigrants entering the U.S. Firstly, it's a tremendous intrusion of privacy, and secondly, it deterred online expression in general, and thirdly, it's simply ineffective. Thus, there should be no doubts in this room that such policy should be abandoned. Last year, an acquaintance of my friend in LMU is refused to enter this country just because on the phone, on her WeChat message, which is a popular Chinese, it's like a Chinese Facebook. On the app, she sent a message to her friend saying that she will bomb the school. Of course, such emotion happens to all of us when we're so stressed that we kind of wanted to bomb the whole universe. But should a person be deported from the country just because such thought is happening in her mind? I don't think so. Thank you.
5:15.
5:15, very nice. I believe it's your turn, Erica. I guess you're standing, huh? Yeah.
Do you want me to stand?
No, you're fine up there. Yeah.
Overall, you had a really great speech. I like your flow. I like how you personally connected that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a joke or analogy at the end. It really fit in and tied your speech back. So that's a true story. Yeah.
That wasn't a joke. Yeah, okay. Let's go back over here. Camilla.
I I liked a lot of your reasoning throughout, but I don't think that the anecdote of the story at the end was good, because it seems like if someone's saying they're going to bomb a school, then that's probably precisely the reason they want to not let people in and want to check the social media. So I felt it unraveled your other really good points.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Okay. I really liked your speech, and you were more ready than you let on. You were ready. You had prepared this speech nicely, and it was well done. And we all can relate to LAX nightmare and so on and so forth. So that was good. When you give a speech like this, you need to be a little bit more fair-minded so the audience knows why the government wants to do this checking. It's not just a big brother, we want to check on the Chinese, right? And they have some pretty good reasons why, and your last anecdote was, sort of undercut all your stuff. I liked the way you argued your stuff. I liked your significance statement. I thought it was really good. I thought your best piece of evidence was
1 minute.
Your best piece of evidence was this evidence that said does not proven to be effective for national security. I would like you to have footnoted that or told me where that research conclusion came from, because that was a good piece of evidence and assertion. Your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were good. I agree with Camilla that your last story was kind of you undercut yourself. And I know you think I'm uncool because I didn't laugh at, I'm going to bomb the school. But, I work in a school, and if I ever heard somebody say, I'm going to shoot up a school, I'm going to report them. I don't give a shit what you think of me, right? It's not a joke. You don't joke about that anymore. You can't. It's not funny. I know they do it in rock and roll and on the internet and all this stuff and blah, 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 and blah, 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 but I don't think it's funny. Okay, thank you very much. Good job.
Got 12 minutes left.
12 minutes left. Time for one more. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, Mr. Skateboard. How you doing?
Good.
Are you supposed to remind me of something?
Judges.
Yeah, okay. Good job. We need 3 judges this weekend at the tournament if anyone's looking to earn extra credit at USC. Just 2 questions, okay? Let's hear them. Boom them out, please.
How much is the extra credit?
100. 100 points for going the weekend, yeah.
Both days?
Both days, yeah. Take your breath away. Yes, sir?
Is there any other opportunities besides this weekend?
Probably not.
Really?
No, this probably will be the last one this semester. Unless you want to do, there's one during finals week.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's, okay, well.
Where is it?
Here, we're having a tournament here.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that.
Okay, well,
Definitely.
that's in the air, so you better do USC if you want to guarantee.
I'm in Berkeley this weekend. I can.
You can, okay,
I'm in
well,
Berkeley, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to Berkeley?
That's what all the people say.
I'm going to Berkeley.
No way.
Maybe we'll see each other.
Maybe, yeah.
Hey, bros, you can buy me beer. What's this? Verification of attendance. William Miller. I like your last name.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so this was to say that you have an excused absence, right? Oh, very good.
Sarah has a question.
Yeah, put
If we
this in
wanna
the
go-
roll sheet and give them an X or whatever.
If we want to go to the USC win this weekend, how do we, like, is there papers you want us to fill out? Like, how
Yeah.
like, are you going to post information on where, like, exactly it is at USC or?
Yeah. So what I want you all to do that want to go is send me an email immediately right now or after class to Prof. Miller at speech.ucla.edu so I can tell our people tonight at the meeting that you're on for this. Okay? And it's
What day is it?
it's Saturday and Sunday, and it's at basically the Andenberg School. You know where that is? No, well, I have all the directions. And
School of
everything.
Journalism and Communication.
School of Journalism, Communication, and blah blah blah.
Okay, what time is it?
About 8 to 6 every day. Okay. Okay, we're running out of time for this sweet young lady named Zoraida. Zoraida. Zoraida stands before. Oh, you turned your hat around. Oh my. Yeah. Zoraida stands before us, managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friendly nicely in the power stance. That's good. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Zoraida.
Hi, Zoraida.
Okay, I want you all to imagine yourself in this situation. So, you are in desperate need of life-saving medication. You go to your doctor, and he has great news for you. The illness that has befallen on you has met its match. A brand new wonder drug has just hit the market. The only problem is that the pharmaceutical companies can mark up the price as high as they want, whether you have the money or not. So what should the U.S. do to combat rising prescription costs? Here are 3 steps that I believe the U.S. should take in order to be able to cut back on the cost of prescription medication. Number 1, the U.S. needs to put a cap on the price of brand new pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical companies should not be allowed to practice direct-to-consumer advertising. And number 3, they should eliminate the pay-to-delay practice. These 3 steps could save the American people thousands of dollars and can also save you or your loved ones from pain and suffering. We all like to think that we'll live long, healthy lives, but the truth is that life happens, and one day we might be in desperate need of life-saving medication or something as simple as a cough medicine. So my first step that I believe could help with the problem is to put a cap on rising prescription medication. Drug manufacturers are free and able to raise the price of these pharmaceutical needs as much as they like. According to an article published in the LA Times in September 2016, in 2007, the company Mylan purchased EpiPen. Now, this is a well-known medication that has saved many lives before. But since its purchase of the EpiPen, the price of this medication has skyrocketed from $94 to $608. That's a rise of a 54% according to data from Truven Health Analysis. A 54% increase is a dramatic jump, but sadly, it's not uncommon. In fact, the U.S. is one of the countries that pays the most for its prescription medication. Yeah. Which brings me to my second step. The U.S. should not allow direct-to-consumer advertising. If you were to pick up a magazine today and go through it, you would find several advertisements promoting a brand new drug. According to the Time magazine article published in August 2016, drug companies spent $5.4 billion on advertising in 2015, an increase of 19% over 2014. This advertising leads to overprescribing of expensive drugs, even though a more affordable option is available. Which brings me to my third and final point. The U.S. should eliminate the pay-to-delay practice that big pharmaceutical companies use to stop less expensive generic manufacturings of a particular drug. According to a 2016 article published by the FTC.gov in 2016, consumers are better off when there is more competition from lower-priced generic medicine. Anti-competitive pay-to-delay death deals cost consumers and taxpayers $3.5 billion in high drug costs every year since 2001. So what does that mean for you? Pharmaceutical companies can delay any type of generic manufacturing from any of its competitors. This is a win-win for the pharmaceutical companies, and a complete and total loss for its consumers, you guys and us. In my summary, I have shown you the solution to combat the rising prescription drug costs. Number one, the U.S. needs to put a cap on price of prescription medication. Pharmaceutical companies should not be allowed to practice direct-to-consumer drug advertising. And number three, eliminate the pay-to-delay deals. There should be no doubt that the U.S. should put a stop to rising drug costs by eliminating these unfair practices. So if you do find yourself in need of life-saving drugs one day, I hope that your life won't depend on the price of the pill. Thank you.
Very, very good. Wow.
442.
442, yes, ma'am. Is it your turn?
Oh, hi, my name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
It definitely was like sticky.
Sticky, yeah. Someone's reading the text.
You seemed really credible, like you knew the information, and like you just know the background.
Improvement.
Or just like
Name.
Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Or just like the eye contact thing, and like the way it's working and stuff. So
Yeah. You need to break the barrier of the card, and everyone does, and you didn't really need it. You knew the speech. This is a very well-written speech. Okay? And very well delivered, but for the eye contact. So that hurts you a little bit, I'll be honest with you, Sarita. Yeah, you brought it home to people by saying you never know when you're going to find yourself in need of a drug and not be able to afford it. Yeah. Your three solutions, I'll just jump right to it since we're pretty much out of time. We're nearly out of time. First off, the pen that you talked about, the EpiPen, yeah, that's just a metaphor for what the drug companies have done. This little pen that cost them nothing to manufacture, they're charging $700 for. It's obscene. And there's that millionaire kid that bought up that other drug, and what's his name?
Martin Shkreli.
He should be, yeah, nothing. Anyway, yeah. And direct-to-consumer drug advertising, I disagree a little bit with you because I think that's one way that consumers get to find out about new drugs. But I agree with you, it does result in some overprescribing of name drugs. And your third solution was perfectly right on. The way they manipulate, they buy it, and then they hold the generic off the market. It was right on track. Summary was good. Conclusion, perfect. And tieback was really good. Just, the one thing, the one down thing on this was, your eye contact. But other than that, great job, Sarita. Thank you.